So to bring it back to M though, is it frustrating for you as a real hip hop fan to see these fans that come in that aren't real hip hop fans, that don't have the history, they haven't studied the history to make a claim like Eminem is the best because
No, those fans don't frustrate me. The ones that frustrate me are those that I appreciate in hip hop as staples that lean to that sentiment. Those that ignore the fact that he had a record just disrespecting and expressing his disdain for black women in general, and nobody asked him his opinion. He was open and comfortable just being very derogatory toward the mother of all civilization. I don't understand how you forget or forgive for that. All my appreciation for Eminem came prior to me knowing that.
but even though he did that when he was younger and I guess you can say made a mistake in doing that, because we all make mistakes in life, right?
Did he? I mean, okay. How do you compare that to Donald Sterling? And was it a mistake that he said it, or was it a mistake that it was exposed? Or why do we assume that now that it's been exposed, it was not his actual true intention? He hasn't married a black woman and had a bunch of black kids. He hasn't adopted a bunch of black kids. He stayed pretty true to what he expressed as far as in how he lives. I don't see any effort on his behalf to do anything that upholds or supports or shows any type of admiration toward black women since he's been exposed as saying that. He may have made a statement like a PR team would suggest to attempt to clear his image. But outside of that, the minutes that I saw that he invested into that song, they kind of indicate true underlying sentiments and feelings.
So as far as the Donald Sterling thing, Donald Sterling was much older at the time that he made those comments, right? I think Eminem was, I don't know, a teenager, maybe early 20s at most. I don't know, but like I think it's like he was a teenager when he did those.
Old enough, early 20s is old enough to be in the army, use a weapon,
right.
and to
No,
kill.
I totally understand where you're coming from with that.
Go ahead.
Now,
Kyle Rittenhouse was younger than that, but go ahead.
Now, as far as
so was Trayvon Martin. Rest in peace. Go
now,
ahead.
as far as the black women thing, I know D12 has said that he's had relationships with black women, but that doesn't clear the racist factor because we do have people that get into relationships. Yeah, right.
Yeah, slave owners. Ice Cube say that's why I'm lighter than the average brother, because the devil is a savage motherfucker. We kind of like attribute a lot of our lighter skin tones to the fact that our oppressor had time to dip in the chocolate. Just because he would stick his dick in it don't mean he appreciates it, respects it, or reveres it.
Right.
Nobody asked him to make that record, bro. You know how many racists make records their whole life and never make a record saying that? And these are people who are racist in so many obvious ways outside of music creation.
So you think he is racist?
There's no thought, or doubt about it. Anyone that goes out their way to express those sentiments about a group of people, that's how they think, feel toward that group of people. I'm gonna believe that. We all believe in this phrase. We see the meme. Once somebody shows you their true colors, don't try to repaint them. And what we would love to do is repaint him for the sake of black hip hop. I'm not gonna do it. I don't care how many knees he takes at the Super Bowl. All my appreciation for hip hop, for Eminem as an individual, was prior to me being aware that he said these things. I think I kind of heard of it as a myth, but I recently, in the last 4 or 5 years, actually saw the 3-minute video, or heard it. Like, he wasn't even flowing like Eminem. He was just speaking from his heart. There was no skill, no style. All he wanted to do was talk bad about the women I love, my mama, my auntie, my daughters, my sister. Fuck us. And anybody that feels like I owe him some type of path to redemption, that's too much. He didn't make a oops. He didn't say something real quick and catch himself and bite his tongue. He recorded himself speaking from the abundance of his heart. That's what the mouth speaketh, according to the Bible, from the abundance of the heart.
So as far as him putting on for black artists, you don't think that comes from a genuine place?
I think if I had to quantify his influence in the game and compare it to how well he's put on for black artists, no. I think if he utilized his influence to put on for black artists and match the magnitude, he would disappear within the shadows of the talent that he could actually decipher through and exploit and expose. If he was being equally as exploitive of talent amongst the black community in regards to hip hop, and we could compare it to his access, he would be far, far, far more involved in developing other stars.
Yeah, I don't think that he's racist, but I think that he made a mistake. But I understand where you coming from at the same time and how you feel about that situation.
I haven't seen enough energy exerted to oppose the energy expressed in being racist.
But I feel like he does a good job of putting on for black artists. He always tries to pay homage to the artist.
I think he's done a good job. I think he's done a good job in putting a particular black artist in position to have that token gesture, and in the meantime benefit, because what we know about the rap game, we know he's made more off of 50 Cent's music situation than 50 Cent has. That's just the way the totem pole goes. There's the question about Eminem being an outsider or an insider. And I know he's an insider because hip hop has expanded beyond the people who are credited originally for the creation of hip hop. I want to be correct, include everybody who has a statement these days. However, his level of success and whether it would have been what it was without being attached to the powerhouses that he was, although it's up for debate, I think it's really a non-question. And me,
it definitely. If he didn't have Interscope and he didn't have Dre, he definitely wouldn't have had the same success though.
And if I have to find a way to articulate to my daughters, my mothers, my aunties, my sisters that he didn't really mean that, I'd rather not go through the effort of trying to articulate that. I'd rather point that out to them and let them know it's very possible, no matter how nice a white person is to you for 20, 30 years, this could be how they feel deep down in their heart. That's the reality that I have to face. So that's what I would rather realize, accept, and acknowledge versus trying to paint someone else's reality a different color.
Yeah, but I'm not talking about the artists that he's put on as far as like 50. I'm talking about how he's always trying to pay homage to the people that came before him that made it possible for him to exist in the hip hop space, right? Like all of our pioneers. I believe
if he was truly dedicated to having the spirit you're just expressing, he would be a lot more happier, a lot more active, a lot more involved in making sure the rawest forms of hip hop started seeing new heights now that the game has been watered down. He has the power and influence to be so innovative and create so many new avenues in hip hop for those like us that come from the struggle that I don't see him exercising.
But
I don't even see him. I don't even see gratitude. Just generally from him. I saw him sit down with Sway a couple years ago.
But in his Rock and Roll Hall of Fame speech, he shouted out 50 different artists that came before him. He's always wearing T-shirts to pay homage to the artists that came before him. But I just want to say this though, okay? So like if you look at it, what artist does pay homage on the level of that? I think everybody could do a better job, right?
I am the first to say that hip hop has lost the art of the shout out. I've said that before, I'll say it again. Shout out used to be a staple in hip hop. Every time an artist got some attention, he would be desperate to include the shout outs. I see as things have become more self-centered, that has been a lost art. However, the amount of success and support that Eminem has accumulated and acquired in general, the mere essence of keeping the shout out alive is not quantified to offset what hip hop has given to him. His lack of appreciation and gratitude and just happiness and proactiveness in creating actual avenues of revenue and innovativeness speaks louder. Actions speak louder than words. Those shout outs that you're trying to quote are not as loud as his lack of activity in creating new avenues. He could really redefine a new era of hip hop just being on who he is, and he doesn't do it. He sits back, gets a moment to get the shine and sit on the couch with Sway, a staple in hip hop, and he sits up there and sounds depressed as a billionaire. And so more than everybody, all he can do is complain about MGK and comments and fans. That's bullshit. Where's the celebration that hip hop has created you to be one of the biggest persons known on earth? Where's the happiness beyond that? Where's the appreciation? Where's the gratitude?
I can respect that. Definitely can respect that.